Hey everyone, this is Cal Jardy, founder of Fearless Transformation. I help leaders double the results with half the time so that accomplish the life you always wanted, have the relationship you always wanted, and yes, make the money that you always wanted. Today, in this video, what you're going to learn is step 2 in the Life by Design series training on how to create your life that you always wanted. In video 1, what we talked about was how to, first we talked about the big picture. If you haven't seen that video, you go back and see that video because that's going to really set the motion towards creating the life that's important to you, and that will be worth it. So step number 1 is first understanding the big picture, and that is you're here, you're understanding where are you now, okay? Where do you want to be? And what resources do you need to get there? It sounds very basic, and indeed it is very basic. When we start going in depth with it, you're going to start understanding how are we going to get there. Not just, putting an action plan, which is great, putting a game plan, that's awesome, but we're going to talk about the fears that are in the way that could stop us. We're going to talk about understanding our purpose, why we're doing what we're doing, okay? And really getting courage to look at the life we have right now and how we are going to deal with what we have right now. Okay, good? Are you excited? I'm so excited for you because this is one of the most comprehensive goal-setting, life design programs series that you're gonna go through, and it made a big difference in my life. If you know my story, real quick, I was at a verge of bankrupt just back in 2010, and I used to own 2 businesses, and I lost my business, and here I am, I'm looking at a foreclosure letter, and at some point time was so rough that I had to really make a decision between, okay, I spent $10 on gas or what I spend $10 on grocery. It was that detrimental. So I don't know if you can relate to me with that, knowing that I also have a degree. So I did what society asked me to do. I did my part. I got a degree, and I bought this 2-story home, and I thought I was living really the American dream. And yet, life slapped me on the face, and here I am, I'm hitting rock bottom, and I needed help. And I'm looking around me, I don't see people who have the life together that they will give me advice. I don't know if you can relate with me, but do you have someone that gives you great advice, but you look at the life and their life is a mess? So how likely are you going to be enrolled in their advice or in their coaching? So I wanted people who have their life all together, a balance. Not they're doing so great, they're making a lot of money, however, the relationship is a mess. Not their relationship is awesome, however, they're just they're just too serious and they're not having a lot of fun. Or it could be, for example, that they're like obese and yet they have a lot of money. It's just something is missing. Life is a balance, and that's where we started. We wanted to start with that in mind, starting with where are we right now. And what we did is, in our first video, is we created a wheel of life. And the wheel of life, it's consisted pretty much on all areas that are important to you. And the nice thing about it is that you can fill in the blanks whichever area that's most important to you. And you may have seen this before, and it's a great tool that we can use so we can really get present and clear on what's important to us. Good? All right. What would it be like for you understanding that, one area of your life that if you just transform that one area in your life, that's going to ripple effect to all other areas of your life. I know in my past, my area of life that it wasn't working so well were relationships. Okay? And I noticed that area of my life that's called relationships, that rippled on my finances, in my business, in my spirituality, and in my in not having a lot of fun, and affecting my state, and as a result, my performance. So once I really dedicated that area that's called relationships in that period of time, that helped me to start impacting other areas of your life, of my life. And I invite you to start thinking of that from that place too. So what we talked about in that video were, okay, great. So, the important areas in our life: relationships, money, fun, health and fitness, family, contribution, career, growth. And you can, let's say, for example, fun is not that important to you because you're a very serious guy. So now you can put, instead of fun, you can put spirituality, okay? Whatever the area that's most important to you, you can, plug and chug, okay? That's the nice thing about it. Then what we talked about is from 1 to 10, scale what areas that, how are you doing in that area? So for example, in a relationship, let's say you are doing a 6. And you put a 6 right here and 6 right there, and you draw a line. If you're in areas of money, you have a 7, okay? So 7, meaning 10 will be you're doing so great, 0 you're not doing good at all. You're doing a 7, and here we are. We draw a line. So you go through the whole wheel and you start drawing where the scale is. And now you take a look at your wheel of life and you ask yourself a question: with this wheel, how likely are you going to get where you want to be? The road is going to be bumpy, wouldn't it? And that's not going to serve us, would it? So the question is, how could we start working on whichever area that you want to work on so that you can have a more reliable wheel, more reliable wheel that you can depend on, that's going to get us there. So that was the intention of this first video. Now, in this video, today, what we're going to be talking about, okay, great. So now we got, where are we now? Now, where do you want to be? That's important. So starting with the end in mind, where would you like to be? And with that being said, understanding, before we get where you want to be, we want to understand first, what are the ground structure for that to build on? I mean, it's great. I mean, how many times that you start, I wanna let's say make this much of money, or I want to get this job, and that when you got it, you found it's like, really, is that all? It is about it? This is it? And you don't feel like that fulfilled about it? So for that purpose, it's important to get grounded. So this is what I'm going to be talking about today, is how to get grounded, in a sense that understanding where do you want to be and why that's important to you, so that when we get there and when you get there, you feel completely fulfilled and you know that you're on purpose. When I was in college, I thought that I want to be an engineer. I don't know if you can relate to me, that you wanted to do something and then you graduated and you did that thing, and then in the end, like, really, that's not really what I wanted. So after 5.5 years of investment and a lot of money and time and sleeping almost in the library and having a part-time job delivering pizzas, then I got the engineering degree, and I asked myself, well, I don't want to be spending my days and my time sitting behind a computer and designing something. That's not, who I am. I want to be in front of people. I want to be making a difference for people. So with that, how much better would have been for me if I sat down and I really understood the ground structure of what I'm built on and what would I be capable of before I go into that process and that learning. Now, did I get something out of it? Of course. I mean, do I regret it? Of course not. I don't regret it. It taught me how to learn. When I learn how to learn, now I can learn everything else, and it impacts every other area in my life as well. So there's no regrets. There's always learning, and everything happens for a reason. That's completely resourceful state to be in. And highly successful people, before they go on a journey, what I found is they sit down and they answer these questions for themselves before we go there. What would it do for you, understanding what's really important to you before you walk into? Have you been in a scenario where you said you want something in your life and then you went after it and then you found it was a waste of time? Or you found that it's not really what you want, and then you started, you wasted the time, you wasted the energy, you wasted the money, the resources where you could have invested in somewhere else? That's what you're going to be able to avoid by understanding and going through this training and these questions that you can ask for yourself. So, let's roll. First question I want to ask you is, we're going to start from 7 all the way to 1. Okay, and this is dedicated for a reason. First question is, to understand where do you want to be and why that's important. Question is, if you got $7 million, okay, if you got $7 million, how would you spend your time? How would you spend your time if you got $7 million? Okay? $7 million. I don't even know how would you spend your time? Okay, how would you spend your time? That's the first question. What would you be doing? What are you going to be, what are you going to be doing in your life? How are you going to spend your time? What are you going to be living? What would you do with it? Would you go and invest it? Would you buy a property? Would you buy cars? And out of all of this stuff, then what you do with it? Would you contribute it to others? Would you build a school, a church? What would you do with it? What would you do if you got $7 million? What would you do with it? Okay? What would you do with it? So that's first question. So go ahead and take a piece of paper down and write it down and be clear on it. What are you going to do? You got $7 million. Good? Awesome. Second question would be if you got 6 months to live, you got 6 months to live, what would you do? And this question really resonated to me a lot because I understood that if I only got 6 months to live, that I want to be doing what's really, really important to me and what makes me alive, what makes me feel really, really good about myself. So for that purpose, I'm inviting you to ask yourself the same question. If you got only 6 months to live, what would you be doing with those 6 months? Would you be traveling? Would you be, completing that project with the race car that has been sitting in your garage for so long? Would you go on a road trip? Would you move to a different state? Would you go and you do stand-up comedy? Would you jump off an airplane? What would you do if you only got 6 months to live? Okay? Go ahead and write that down. Okay? What happens in writing, now it's you are creating. You're not just thinking about it. It's not a thought anymore. Now it's becoming in the realm of reality because now it's real. Okay? And you're using your kinesthetic senses, not just your visual senses. So write it down and look at it and pause and just be present with it. So go ahead and pause this video and write this down, and I'll see you on the second question. All right? So go ahead and pause the video. Don't move any forward. It's not going to serve you if you're just going to roll through the video without actually going through the exercise. I beg you, pause this video and answer these 2 questions so far. If you got $7 million, what would you do? And what would you do if you got 6 months to live? Okay? 6 months to live. What would you do? All right? So I will see you in a moment. All right, pause. Welcome back. Awesome. I hope that you wrote down the answers for these questions. Now, moving on. Question number 5. What are your 5 most important values that you thrive on? What are the 5 most important values, the core values that you have that it just pushes you forward in life? Values such as, integrity, values such as fulfillment, could be values like happiness, could be values as, honesty, could be values as determination, adventure, fun. What are your 5 most important values that that are embedded in you, that it's just going to be your motivational, that's going to be your engine, that's going to be your driving force forward? That's very important, and getting clear on that. So go ahead and pause this video and write down your 5 most important values. I'm watching you. Pause this video. Awesome. Go ahead and do that now. Welcome back. Fourth question, activities. What are the activities that gives you the most fulfillment that you do? Okay? What are the 4 activities that give you the most fulfillment? What you do, like it makes you feel great. Could be, in front of people, when you are presenting in front of people. It could be, for example, when you are behind, a race car. Or it could be playing a musical instrument. Or it could be, playing the drums. Or it could be just meditating. what are the four activities, that will give you the most fulfillment? What are the 4 activities that gives you the most fulfillment? Go ahead and write that down. Pause this video. Welcome back. Now, what are the 3 things that you always wanted to do, but you were afraid of doing them? What are the 3 things you wanted to do, but you got some fear around them? Okay? Could be something, for example, you always wanted to dance, but maybe it's too late now. In my case, I always wanted to take a road trip, just hitchhiking all over the United States for 3 months. That's what I always wanted to do. But building a business and having a relationship and getting involved in so many other things with families and all that has been stopping me from doing that. But that is something that I always wanted to do, but I didn't do it. Does that make sense? So in your case, what are the 3 things that you always wanted to do, but something happened? There are fears, there are concerns that stopped you from doing them. So go ahead and write them down. Pause this video. Welcome back. Now, what are the 2 things that you really, really want in your life, regardless of anybody else? Could be family, could be friends, could be a spouse, could be, business partners, or anybody else, or any other influence outside of yourself. What are the 2 things that you really, really, really want in your life, that you really want to do, and it's gonna give you a sense of fulfillment regardless of any impact of anywhere else? Sometimes, we really want to do something. However, we have, let's say, an elderly family member that we're taking care of. Or maybe we have children that, we can't go on a week learning skydiving because we have children, we're concerned about ourselves. What are the 2 things that it will give you, that you really want for yourself, regardless of anyone else or the impact of anybody else? Go ahead and write that down. Welcome back. Last but not least, what is the one thing that you dare to dream? One thing that you dare to dream, and when it's like you're having this magic wand, and it's just poof, there it is. What is that one thing that you can just dare to dream and have your mind just go crazy, and without any concerns, any little voice conversations and all that? What is that one thing that you would dare to dream that would make your life all worth it? Okay? And with that, my friends, sitting down, your exercise right now is to sit down and go through the answers of all those and get present with them, because I promise you, in the next video, you are going to get present what is your ultimate number 1 purpose. Your ultimate number 1 purpose that is going to drive you regardless of the concerns, the challenges, financial obligation, the breakdowns that happen in the process. Because once we are committed, once we are thriving towards an ultimate number 1 purpose, then everything else would be manageable. All the challenges that comes in the way to success, it will be manageable. So what is it for you? That's what you're going to be discovering in the next video. Until then, always be fearless and always be growing. Cheers.